Wife said she was having drinks with friends on New Year's Eve when she ignored our daughter's calls, so I checked her phone records and found 3 months of secret messages. For context, coming into the new year I had no idea my wife had been at the bare minimum having an emotional affair with a coworker. On New Year's Eve, before I found out about this, she came home and acted extremely cold toward me and our kids. She was angry. Earlier on that evening she asked if she could go out to have one drink with a female coworker, whom I knew and trusted. I told her that was cool but that the kids were staying up for the ball drop, so as long as she could be back to celebrate with them I was fine with it. Well, she ended up getting off of work at 11:30 and barely had enough time to get home. After the ball drop she cried and cried. I asked her what was wrong and she said she got invited to her friend's house to have drinks with them. All 3 of them women, all married. I had no issue. I said, look, I'm not sure what's wrong and why you're crying about this. That's fine. You deserve a girls' night out every once in a while. I don't mind watching the kids. Just go. I put the kids to bed. She left, and then about 3 hours later. So 3 a.m. I tried to contact her. No answer. I wait about 15 minutes. Call her again. No answer. I call her friend who she's supposed to be with. No answer. She then texts me back 5 minutes later and says, yeah, I'm still coming home tonight. We're still drinking. Never in our 6 years of marriage had I felt a gut feeling that something else was going on, but that night it all hit me. I went through our phone records and found another number I was unfamiliar with that she had been in contact with all night. Ignoring my calls, texting that number in between, etc. She had also been texting this number for a 3-month period daily. I never suspected that she would be texting another dude while right beside me watching family movies either. As times had shown. How I didn't see this I have no idea. Maybe she had this individual listed as mom in her phone. I don't know. I had never gotten this vibe or feeling our entire marriage. I was blindsided by it. Anyway, I confront her about it through text with the proof like an idiot. She speeds home, deletes everything on her phone. No way of getting the backups restored. No way of ever knowing she did not meet up with this guy. Upon finding this out, I immediately told her I wanted a divorce. It was at this point she began getting violent with me. Talking shit about everything I had been doing to keep us financially stable. The 18-hour work days that kept a roof over our heads. She told me that I needed to leave even though I pay rent and both our kids are asleep. I refused. We slept in separate rooms that night, and the next day she tried to act like nothing even happened. Claiming that she remembered we'd fought but couldn't remember what it was about. So I show her the phone records even though I'm positive she was just trying to pull some crap. She confesses who the individual was and says they flirted a lot but never met up. I told her if that was true she'd have no issues restoring the text messages she deleted, at which point it was confirmed she deleted everything and deleted her last backup. She also saved a backup after they were deleted the night everything went to shit. Since then she's tried hard to convince me they never did anything and never saw each other aside from work. I keep finding bits and pieces of things that don't make sense. Chunks of text deleted from her friends' messages around that time. Pictures on her Google Drive from that night, where she was with who she said she was, deleted from her phone. For what reason? The most damning evidence I have is for a 2-hour period on New Year's Eve. They stopped texting each other, then randomly started texting again at around 3 a.m. when I started calling and got that feeling. My gut tells me she left her friend's place, went to his place and went back. Or she went straight to his place from our place, then went to her friend's when she found out I was calling them. There are revealing pictures of herself she never sent me also on her Google Drive, taken on Snapchat. She's since given me all her attention. She initiates intimacy tenfold. The texting stopped. She shows me everything on her Snapchat and even downloads her data to show me she's not hitting other people up. I'm seeing the side of her I haven't seen since we were married all those years ago. But I can't help but trust my gut in demanding a divorce. I feel like she's kept things from me. Not knowing for sure is killing me inside. My parents know all of this and keep pressuring me to work it out and not dwell. My brothers are saying fuck that, get a divorce. Am I wrong in getting a divorce? Keep in mind the dates. It's now been over 4 months since this occurred. I'm positive she cut the individual completely out. But I still can't get over the not 100% knowing, and my gut tells me she's still lying. Edit 1. If some of this is confusing, ask and I will clarify. I will also give context where needed. Also, sorry for the way this was written. I'm aware there is some jumping back and forth, etc. I'm just scatterbrained right now. It's honestly getting to me more now than the night I found out. It just keeps building. I feel stupid. Edit 2. Also, forgot to add this: the individual in question is an employee she manages. As in, she is his direct supervisor. I've heard there are greater legal consequences for this, but I have no idea. For clarification, The individual in question is actually morbidly obese. I'm by no means fit. But I'm not fat either. Went back and looked at the timestamps for the pictures that were deleted of her and her friends that night. On Google Drive, before that 2-hour period of no texting, during, and after there were several pictures taken with verified timestamps on them. As in they cannot be changed on Google Drive. Whether or not she has a friend that's tech savvy and was able to do that within the 10 minutes it took her to get home upon confronting, I don't know. Is this possible? It's also worth adding I come from a family that has thoroughly convinced one of my cousins that she needs to stay in her marriage even when her husband became solely reliant on her, got addicted to coke. Is still addicted to coke and physically abused her. All because by golly no one in this family has ever gotten a divorce, so essentially doing so I would get disowned by my parents, my sister, all my cousins, all my aunts, all them uncles. But would still have the support of my 2 brothers. Mini update, currently on morning break at work. Been reading through the comments. I have off tomorrow all day, so I will be heavily weighing my options when I get some time to myself tomorrow. May not update tomorrow. But I'll update y'all when I can. Thank you for all the input, positive and negative. The best thing I can do right now is just get through the work week. Get my kids from daycare and be mentally present for them. I've been ignoring her since last night and she's been snapping and calling me all morning to see what's wrong. Update 1. My wife had an emotional affair at the bare minimum and may have cheated. Probably did but will never admit it. Here is the update. I sit here typing this out on my morning break while listening Tuesdays Gone by Leonard Skinner. After a long day of considering my options on Friday, I sat my wife down on Friday evening when she got off work and I had out the kids to bed. As soon as I brought up that my trust in her was completely gone, she immediately became argumentative and essentially stated I thought we had left this in the past. You never trusted me, did you? I responded with, even if you didn't do anything physical or met up with him outside of work, you'll never let me see those text messages. You'll never pull the Snapchat data. She responded with, you're right. Marriage is based off trust, and if you don't trust me then maybe we ought to call it quits. The irony in this is that I worked 18 to 19-hour days for the past few years, barely being able to do anything I wanted to do in my life because I was supporting our children, getting them to bed, cleaning the house all the time, doing all the cooking, barely even getting enough sleep. Probably took years off my life just from the stress. She on New Year's Eve said fuck the kids, fuck you, and essentially went out to party with her friends, all the while ignoring calls from me and our daughter asking where she was, while also responding to her bare minimum emotional affair partner. Not getting into all the details so as to not repeat myself between this and the update. Long story short. In my state we have to be separated for a year before a divorce can be finalized. When I agreed with her that we should start separating and that I had already been in contact with a lawyer, she freaked the fuck out on me. She begged me not to go through with it. But alas. Next Friday I will be dropping her off at her parents' a few hours away. The kids will be staying with me for now with the help of one of my brothers. I told her there was only one way I would put this off for now. That was pull the data, pull the texts. Prove your case. She looked down at the ground. One more time. And told me that's a violation of her privacy. We haven't spoken since. For now, for my kids I keep on keeping on. Update, trickle truth. First it was a guy in a different state. Second it was a coworker. Third it was someone underneath her that she supervises. Fourth, and just now, randomly got a text from her stating she may have told him she loves him. But instantly regretted it. And that's it. Revived, Dr. Evil. Also, let me reiterate, the process of separation starts this coming Friday. In my state you cannot divorce immediately. It takes a full year. I say this because of all the people stating just divorce and be done with it, and also those stating stop giving second chances. Comments where Op has replied, Scrufferstad, Op, you do realize that your attorney can subpoena her phone records and texts, right? If you believe there was cheating, have your lawyer get all those messages. Then you'll know and she'll be out of luck. Oop, definitely going to happen. I've already been in contact with one, and in the state I live in if there was infidelity she essentially loses any choice in the matter of where the kids stay. Tab 1 2 3 4 5 6 6 7 8 8. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. I've been in a similar situation. He wouldn't show me the texts. Spent about a half hour clearing then and then let me see his phone. Lol. Oop, for me it's pretty black and white. I'm 99.99999% sure she physically cheated. I'd love to just believe her and move on, but I can't. Not only did she delete all texts between them, she deleted all texts from multiple friends and coworkers from that same time as well. But left the ones from prior and after. As far as I'm concerned, her friends were in on it, and so was anyone else she deleted texts from. Update 2. Long story short, I found out my wife had been having an affair on New Year's Eve as Elise sat at home with our children. After ignoring calls from not only me but our daughter asking where she was, I went through our phone records to see that while she ignored our calls, she was accepting calls and texting another number quite frequently. For the record, it was the first time in over 12 years of being together that I'd ever gotten a gut feeling to do so. Never checked them prior to that night. Called the friends who she was supposed to be with and they ignored my calls as well. After confronting her through text at around 4 or 5 a.m., she was home within 5 minutes, screaming at me and yelling at me as I tried to sleep. Got blamed for everything even though I'd been loyal and the financial breadwinner our entire marriage. She ended up gaslighting me and trickle-truthing as I tried to keep things together for our children. I'll spare you all the details as they can be found in previous update and original post. Fast forward to today, I filed for divorce against my family's wishes. Whole other story also answered in previous update. We are separated but the divorce can't be finalized until next year. 1 year of being separated is required. She begged and begged for me not to go through with it, begged me to stay. Not to toss everything out over one little mistake. Funny how she sees infidelity as a mistake that lasted 3 months. Yeah. Regardless. I've spent a lot of time with my kids. She sees them on weekends if she chooses. Has only been a couple of times. I'd love to say that I'm over it all. But I'm still healing. I really did love her and I wish things worked out different. But I can never trust her again. She tried everything she could sexually to get me to stay. Hell, the day she finally confessed everything, I came home to her dressed up like never before, ready to go. I declined. She went as far as offering me head every day for the rest of our lives if I stayed. I've been working and taking care of the kids. It's harder on them than it is me if I'm being honest. They still don't understand. I've just been telling them mommy has some things she's working on. I don't have the heart to tell them we won't be a functional household anymore at this time. Also, my parents haven't one time talked or reached out to me since I told them I was filing for divorce. Not even to check on my kids or anything. But I've been making this work with the help of my brother and a few good friends. A few girlfriends from the past have hit me up to see if I want to catch up, but I need to focus on myself and my kids. Thank you all for reaching out through DMing and commenting. Next story. Divorced my husband after his mom fed my daughter essential oils and put her in ICU. Now he's begging me back, while planning to secretly take our daughter out of the country. I will be rambling a little as I am very mad right now. My ex and I were married for well over 5 years and together for 10. His mother was a nightmare. She would spend her time belittling me and tried humiliating me. I could take it as I loved my husband and didn't want to make him choose between her or me. Of course I would always tell him what she would be doing and he would always brush it off as her being a loving and overprotecting mom. When she would say something racist, I am Hispanic and they are white, he would laugh it off. When she would make a comment of me being a gold digger, even though I earned more than my ex, he would just say, "Oh mom." He would also get mad at me if I ever stood up for myself. But the straw that broke the camel's back is when we had our daughter. My mill would always try to parent her and say that I would do something wrong. My daughter has an irritable colon and she cannot ingest any kind of fucking oils or artificial things. And guess what that loony of a woman did? She fed my 3-year-old daughter essential oils. She is not anti-vax, just very stupid, to make her go to sleep. She was in the ICU. I had it and I confronted my husband who said she only did what she thought was best. I lost it. I went to my parents and drafted a divorce agreement. That's the best course of action. I saw a post earlier describing a situation that is much more dangerous than mine involving allergens and an EpiPen. His face was like that Pikachu meme when I served him. He didn't know why I was doing that because we were happy. So now a year has passed and my life was hell. My monster-in-law tried every dirty trick in the book to take my daughter. To name a few, she accused my brother of molesting her, she accused me of neglect, she accused me of taking drugs and leaving them in reach of a toddler. I take thyroxine for heaven's sake. She accused me of endangering my daughter by leaving a random man in my house. The list goes on. During this time the excuse of my ex was that I broke his heart and I had to understand his mother. She only wants what's best for him. Luckily I got good representation and even got my daughter full-time minus some weekends or visitation. I could prove that my daughter was endangered by his mother. So now to the advice part. I knew that my ex needed to be permanently in my life because of my daughter. And I was learning to live with that. He was very cold with me because again, I broke his heart. Now two things have come together. My ex Bill got married to an African American woman, so of course my ex Mill flipped. I started dating again. My ex Bill is a great guy and he actually stood up for his wife. Go figure, it is possible. I stay in contact with him because we are friends and he was a mediator and fought with his brother quite often. So my Bill actually stood up for his wife and my ex-husband got his panties in a twist. My Bill basically opened his eyes to how shitty he was being. And that their mom treated me the same way she treated his wife. And finally my dense ex started understanding. The guy I am seeing is great. I have even met his parents and his mother is normal. She treats me like a human being and has invited me already to many family functions and tries to make me and my daughter feel welcomed. My ex got wind from the situation through a mutual friend, and guess who is now flipping his shit? He started bringing flowers and chocolate, I don't even like chocolate, to pick up our daughter. He sends me cards and SMS with hearts and who knows what. Yesterday was the best thing. My daughter was at my mother's place and I was at home with my boyfriend. He appears in front of my door crying and clutching my engagement ring, begging me to come back. I said no and that he should go away. He wouldn't and started demanding that I come out to talk to him. My boyfriend told him that he would call the police, and in his pathetic fashion he threatened to beat my boyfriend up. I closed the door and let him pound sand. Today he picked up my daughter for a day trip, and when they came back my daughter was asking if I loved my boyfriend more than her. Now I am at a loss to what to do. I already told my daughter that it was impossible because my love for her is infinite and there is nothing bigger than infinite. But now I know that my ex is trying to make my daughter hate me. I am at a loss because I won't use my daughter as ammunition. But also, what the hell am I supposed to do? I will never return to that man, but I can't take away the father of my daughter. Do you guys have any advice? Edit 1. Thanks you all. I needed to vent and was feeling helpless, and I'm so thankful for you wonderful people. I talked to my lawyer who confirmed that we could have a case for domestic violence by proxy. A social worker will be visiting us in the next few days to talk to my daughter about this. Edit 2, because apparently people want to spin the narrative on me. I don't care if he wants me back. I don't love him anymore and will never get back together with him. Staying for the sake of our daughter would not make sense, as it has been proven that kids grow up happier in divorced homes than unhappy homes. I tried talking to my husband when we were still married and he would always brush it off. He would brush off everything his mother did. I complained to him and told him we needed to go to therapy, which he declined. He has his daughter on the weekends. The court gave me majority custody because of his mother. Jesus guys, I guess in some of y'all's eyes I should have kept being by my ex's side as a submissive bimbo. Update 1, I just posted here yesterday but it feels like weeks have happened. So I have just left my daughter with my mother and I'm going to my lawyer again. I followed some advice you guys gave me and we sat down with my daughter to chit chat. We knew we couldn't prompt any kind of responses by asking overly specific questions as per her therapist. So my mother asks my daughter, let's call her Kat, Kat, what do you and daddy talk about? And Kat just listed many toddler things like she talks about kindergarten, games, etc. When I was kind of relieved that that comment my ex made yesterday may just be a one-off, came the big bomb. He also shows me pictures of houses and tells me I can have now 2 rooms with loads of stuff. I ask if her dad is buying a new house. Nope. Turns out that Nut wants to take my daughter out of the country. He shows her pictures of beach houses and even bought her a bag so she can put her stuff inside it. Which explains why so many of her clothes have gone missing. At first I thought that maybe my ex hadn't told me yet because it hadn't come through. But no, he told my daughter to keep this as a secret because mommy would get sad if she knew that daddy was going away. So I am fucking livid. And also sad because I will have to tell my daughter no. Once again I feel lost. Edit, I talked to my lawyer and we have taken measures that I can't discuss here, but we are on it. I have my daughter's passport as we flew last month to visit extended family. Also I am a US citizen, so even if my ex-mill tried to have me deported, that wouldn't be possible. Update 2, so I thought of giving you the last update as you helped me through this. I didn't have enough evidence to request an ex-parte, aka emergency child custody. So my lawyer and I had to work on steps to prevent child abduction. We got a custody decree that included provisions including passports, travel restrictions, etc. We also had to be very wary of the signs. He in fact quit his job, and on a realtor's page, I saw that he was putting his mother's house on sale. That, in my daughter's words, was all we needed to notify law enforcement for them to keep an eye out. I couldn't prevent my daughter from seeing her father. We tried to continue business as usual without my daughter feeling something was up. I got a call from the police department regarding the passport situation. My daughter's passport had expired very recently, 5 years validity. My ex-husband had tried to request a passport for my daughter without my knowledge. Which was stupid because even without the decree, I had to be present or submit a notarized document of me stating that he could request the passport. After that, things actually went very fast. He was investigated because he violated the decree, and it was found out that Mill had bought 3 tickets with no return date to Mexico. I could request an ex-parte. After a shit ton of documents I submitted it. In most cases the judge will evaluate behind closed doors. We had the hearing yesterday. It takes usually 10 to 20 days, which was very good for me. ATM, I have sole custody for my daughter. This is all temporary. My ex has visitation rights if I was present, but he can't take her anywhere. This is once the investigation of him is closed. I was cursed out by my ex and ex-mill, and they said they will try to contest this, but they have no leg to stand on. My daughter will continue in therapy. Especially after this. I will not prohibit him from seeing her, but he needs help. This was really scary and a very intense 2 weeks. I don't think that I will update again, but I wanted to thank you all for your tips and support. I am really thankful, as I am finally not anxious the whole time. Thank you really much.